Alright guys, so I have another video here on the dreaded 3-valve 5.4 engine tick. It's kind of frustrating, to say the least. I don't really know why Ford did away with the 2-valve Tritons, but at any rate, it has the dreaded tick noise. I don't know if this is cam phaser related, if it has to do with the hydraulic lifters. Sometimes they get oil stuck in the little holes that pushes them up and down. I don't know if there's a worn out lobe in the crankshaft or a bent push rod, or whatever is causing this noise seems to be a little bit frustrating, to say the least. I know a lot of you guys seem to be confused by sounds that sound exactly the same but are actually a little different when you closely look at them. Most of these 3-valve motors seem to have just like that kind of ticking sound, which is definitely different from what you would hear if you had, let's say, a rod knock or some other type of issue. It's really more of a ticking, kind of similar to what an exhaust leak would sound like. So we're gonna get out and take a look here. Again, I'm not really sure what is causing this tick. It very well could be the cam phasers, or it could be another issue. This engine did recently have a misfire, and it turned out that there was a bad plug and coil pack on the second cylinder. I went ahead and I changed that coil pack and the plug. I changed the rest of the spark plugs, and the noise still seemed to be there. I know a lot of times, a lot of people have posted that sometimes if your spark plug is loose, you can have a loose plug, which will contribute to the same noise type. So I've been able to rule out the plugs and the coils for the most part. Again, all the plugs are new in the truck. There was one new coil, the rest of the original. I don't believe the problem is fuel injector related. I don't really have a stethoscope to really diagnose that a little bit further. I did use the screwdriver technique where, you know, you hold the screwdriver to the back of the fuel injector and kind of just put your ear to the plastic handle and see if you can hear the tapping through the fuel injector, which is actually more of an electrical sounding type tick in my opinion. Again, there's 4 or 5 things with these 3-valve motors that can contribute to this ticking noise. They basically all sound the same but can be completely different issues. If it's not the plugs and the coils or the fuel injectors or even the cam phasers, it can also be, you know, like a worn out lobe of some type in the crankshaft, or something going on with the timing chain, and certain things like that in the top end of the motor that could make that same type sound that you're probably hearing or having trouble with your own personal vehicle. So we're gonna get out here and try to take a better listen to this sound and see if we can diagnose this. I've kind of seem like I've narrowed it down between the cam phasers and the lifters, because, you know, that sound is coming right from the top end of the motor. But again, guys, I'm not a car mechanic by trade, so I'm not really sure. But we're gonna get out, like I said, and we're gonna take a look at the sound here. I'll pop the hood, and we'll see if we can't diagnose this thing. I'll try not to make the video too long. and I will post an update if I do find out what is causing this tick problem, because I know some of you guys are dying to know. It's frustrating. You're probably ready to drive the thing off a cliff. I know a lot of Ford dealerships are telling people to just run the trucks because they don't want to deal with it. Sometimes people take their vehicle to Ford dealerships and, you know, they replace the cam phasers and it ends up being the lifters, or they replace the lifters and it ends up being the cam, and it just goes back and forth, where they have to charge the customer these exorbitant amounts of money to, you know, fix the issue. And quite frankly, most local mechanics don't want to deal with it because it's hard to pinpoint that issue without taking the motor apart. And Ford doesn't want to deal with it because there's actually still pending lawsuits against them over this 3-valve 5.4 motor. In my opinion, this should have been a recall, but considering the hundreds of millions of dollars it probably would have cost Ford to make this a recall, they seem to just be ignoring the issue and telling people to run the trucks until there's some type of other issue, until, you know, the phasers either affect the timing chain or something happens, which is really terrible advice in my opinion. It kind of seems like a half-ass answer on Ford's part, but we'll see what happens here. This particular vehicle is a 2008 F-250. Let's see here, it's got, well, right now, guys, another thing is this thing is only getting about 7 miles per gallon, and it actually should be getting closer to 14. This is a 2008 F-250. It has, I believe, 142,000 miles on it. And the fuel mileage is just has gotten terrible, to be quite honest. You can definitely hear the truck has a rough idle to it. And let's get out and take a look here. And I'll let you guys listen to it. You can let me know what you think. Again, I think it's lifter or cam phaser related. I have tried the, you know, the Rizalone and the Marvel mystery oil treatments, you know, where you add 1 quart of the additive to your crankcase when you change your oil. You know, if your truck took 7 quarts of oil, you would put 6 quarts in, 1 quart of additive, let it run for a little bit, and then dump it and hopefully flush that motor out and clean whatever sticky oil is preventing those lifters from moving up and down, or whatever is causing, you know, that valve train to be making noise like that. I did get a can of Seafoam. I heard it's basically the same results as Marvel mystery oil. I haven't tried it yet, but I don't know, if all else fails, maybe I'll do another oil change and see if we can get this thing to quiet down with some additive. I really don't see that happening with how long this has been ticking. I would say for the greater part of 20,000 miles, this thing has been pretty loud. It does have, like I said, 142,000 miles on it, so let's get out and take a look at this, and you guys let me know what you think, because I'm dying to know myself. And again, I will post an update video if I do find out what is wrong with this truck. I know a lot of you guys are frustrated with trying to diagnose your tick. It's just one of those common things in these 3-valve motors. They're just known to be chatterboxes. Ford seems to even admit that and acknowledge the problem. Again, why it wasn't a recall is, you know, ridiculous in my opinion. But this is dating back to, I believe, 2004 models, 2000 to 2004 to 2008. So all these vehicle years, that 4 years, or maybe even more, it might have been even 6 years, that these 3-valve motors are having this tick problem, and it's very frustrating. You know, spending a bunch of money to replace the lifters and then having not be the lifters, spending the money on the phasers, it's not the cams. So we're gonna get out here and take a look, and I will post an update video, guys, when I pinpoint what is giving this truck a rough idle and poor gas mileage. So let's take a look. And you notice as soon as you get out, you can already hear the sound getting louder. When you come, you can really hear it over by the wheel well. You can almost hear the sound resonating down to the bottom of the timing chain. It's pretty loud. I don't know how well you guys can hear it through the video as opposed to hearing it in person, but let's go to the other side. It's pretty much the same on this side. I don't really notice any difference, any louder or quieter between driver and passenger side. So let's take a look underneath. So if you come up to the top end here, come over to the driver's side, you can definitely hear that noise. Sometimes the fuel injectors tick a little bit anyway. They've been known to make noise. I really don't think that that's the issue here. If you're hearing what I'm hearing, it's kind of more of like a wah 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 wah. Similar to just kind of that crappy idling ticking sound. You come over to the passenger side, it doesn't really get any quieter. It actually seems maybe a little bit louder, if anything. And again, that sound is coming, you know, right in the top end of this motor here. You know, you can see the coils here. I replaced this one. That seems to be all right. The plugs are good, you know. The fuel injectors in here. The fuel injectors seem okay, like I said. And then you have these VCT solenoids up here, which basically are what control the cam on either side. There's another, where is it? Right here, another VCT solenoid, which again, I believe, circulates the oil through those cams and makes those cam pages work. You can kind of feel the tap if you put your hand right behind the VCT solenoid, but it's not distinctive enough to really say that that's where it's coming from. But you can definitely hear it. It just generally sounds like crap at idle. Definitely has some type of top end issue. Again, whether some of these lifters are stuck in here and they're not getting enough oil through the hole that normally lubricates them and it's causing that tap sound, or one of the roll pins or the springs has come out of these cams underneath here and are causing that same ticking sound. Again, there can be you know, 3 or 4 different issues that basically almost contribute to the same sound on these 3-valve motors. So I'm doing my best to pinpoint where exactly this sound is coming from, but again, you know, until I do some more investigation, I don't really know. But we're gonna hope for the best here and see if we can quiet this valve train noise down somehow. I know it's very frustrating. It gets to be annoying after a while. You know, some mechanics tell you to just, you know, drive it the way it is, or try and lubricate the lifters, or waiting until something more severe happens with the motor to take action, because again, it's kind of hard to say that it's one or the other without taking the whole thing apart, which, you know, is costly and everything else. So I'm just gonna step back a little bit here. You can kind of just hear it idle for a second, and then you can just hear that. Again, these motors are known to be a little chattery and make some type of noise, but not the noise that you can hear. I mean, I can really, you know, hear it here. It seems to be only at warm idle. Once you rev the truck up to a certain RPM, the sound does seem to go away a little bit, if not completely. So that's another reason why I think it might be the cam phaser relation there, or some type of problem with these you know, these DCT solenoids here. But we're gonna get into this a little further and try and diagnose this problem, and I will post an update when I figure out what exactly is going on here. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any type of suggestion or comments you want to make, if you've had experiences similar to these noises that you're hearing in these 3-valve 5.4 motors, again, they seem to be famous for having this issue, and I'll see if I can diagnose this one. It's gonna be tough, and I will post an update. Let me know what you guys think.